Why do people fantasize about others while being in a relationship? Most people want a simple answer. If I'm thinking about someone else, something must be wrong. That sounds clean, logical, and completely misses what's actually happening. Fantasies are not random. They don't appear out of nowhere. They are signals, and usually uncomfortable ones. At the beginning of a relationship, desire feels effortless. You don't try to want the other person, it just happens. Why? Because everything is new. You don't fully know them. There's uncertainty, curiosity, a bit of tension. And tension is what fuels attraction. But time does something predictable. You learn the person. You understand their patterns. You know how they respond, what they like, what they'll say next. And slowly, without noticing, the relationship shifts from exploration to stability. Sounds good in theory. In reality? Stability often kills the very thing that created attraction in the first place. Here's where fantasies step in. Not because you're a bad partner. Not because you suddenly need someone else. But because your brain is trying to recreate something that disappeared. Novelty, uncertainty, emotional intensity. And this is the part people misunderstand the most. When you fantasize about someone else, you're usually not craving that person. You're craving a state, a version of yourself, more desired, more alive, more confident, more seen. The other person is just a projection, a trigger for a feeling you're missing. Embrace that version of you. You stop noticing them. Stop reacting to them. Stop feeling anything strong at all. They become familiar. But if you stop here, you're still avoiding the deeper issue. Because sometimes it's not just about missing excitement. Sometimes the truth is harsher. You stop seeing your partner as someone you want. Not in a dramatic way. Not overnight. It fades quietly. And familiar over time often becomes neutral. And neutrality is deadly for desire. Because desire needs contrast. It needs a bit of distance, mystery, unpredictability. When everything is known, explained, and safe, the mind relaxes. And a relaxed mind doesn't chase, it doesn't crave, it just coexists. So what do people do? They don't confront it. They don't say, I'm losing attraction. I feel disconnected. I don't feel anything anymore. Because that would require responsibility. Instead, they escape into fantasies, into comparisons, into distractions. They keep the relationship externally intact while internally drifting away. Over time, fantasies change their role. At first, they're occasional. Then they become frequent. Then they become necessary. A private space where you feel something again. You're not bored. You're not rejected. You're not disappointed. And slowly, the emotional center of your life shifts. Not to another person in reality, but away from your partner. This is where most relationships quietly break. Not through betrayal. Not through one big event. But through emotional relocation. You're physically present. But mentally, you're somewhere else. And here's the uncomfortable truth. At that point, the question is no longer about fantasies. It's about the relationship itself. Because fantasies don't destroy connection, they expose that it's already weak. So instead of asking, is it wrong that I think about someone else? What am I not feeling in my relationship? When did I stop feeling it? Did I ever try to rebuild it or just avoid it? Because the real problem is not that your mind wanders. The real problem is when it finds something more alive outside than inside the relationship you're still in. And instead of coming back, you start staying there longer each time.